Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Saturday. I hope you're having a great Saturday. This video has to do. This video has to do with all the stuff that's going on. First off, ladies and gentlemen, I trust President Trump. But that doesn't mean that I trust everybody that is in his hemisphere. I trust a lot of them, but not all. One person that I most certainly do not trust, and I have lots and lots of clips that I could put in this video, but I'm not going to. This is just me talking to you guys. The person that I don't trust a whole lot, or almost none whatsoever, would be Lindsey Graham. Because every time I hear that guy talk, all I hear is him talking about destroying people and whatnot, just to put it politely. You know, as an American and as somebody that, you know, takes care of his own and so forth and so on, I'm not a huge fan of the fact of all these people hating on each other. And what I mean by that is people that I once trusted in the news seem to be blabbing and ranting their mouths off. Not that I used to trust Mark Levin, but one thing that you could always count on is him literally yelling all the time. And now you hear all these people yelling at people such as Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, you know, even Candace Owens. And there's plenty other people, Joe Kent, you know, a little bit here and there. You hear in the background of Tulsi Gabbard, you know, with the last hearing there in the Senate. That was pretty interesting. If you haven't seen it or seen clips, I highly suggest you hop on X or YouTube or whatever and find the clips that, you know, Tulsi Gabbard is you know, talking about certain things. I just don't understand. Well, I can't say I don't understand because that wouldn't be necessarily true. What I don't get, no, can't say that either. No, because I get it. Because the simple fact that in 2020, some of the same stuff happened to me when I started this program, What If News. When you are over the target on subjects, people come after you left and right. And it's really a shame because they'll do whatever they can. The first thing that they will do is slander you. That way the slander maybe possibly might jack up your sponsorships, people that want to, you know, pay you for talking about their products, you know, such as My Patriot Supply. They're one of my sponsors. You can check the QR code right here. You know, they'll give you a whole week free of emergency food when you buy 4 weeks. But it's amazing to me to see all these people, even Dan Bongino, and I respect Dan Bongino, but I'm losing respect for Dan Bongino because of the simple fact that before he went into the FBI, it was all about getting the truth out. And if you sit back and you really look and you notice and you listen and you watch, it just seems like things aren't being truthful. All right, obviously we have no idea the true attributes of 9/11. I mean, the whole Saudi Arabia portions of that, they won't release. Well, why is that? Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with Saudi Arabia, or very little, or none at all. Vegas shooting, right? What do we know about that? Well, we don't know anything because what they tell us more than likely is not the truth, and maybe there's a small smidge of truth, but more than likely it's not truthful at all. I mean, you can look up all kinds of stuff on the internet. You can literally look up a map that somebody created that has every single person, every 911 call. I mean, it has all kinds of things. I mean, you can Google it, figure it out how to Google it. I mean, it's simple. Vegas map. Just yeah, and fill in the rest. Charlie Kirk. For some odd reason, I'm going to say there's nowhere. I don't think there's any or very little truth being told about that situation. President Trump, you probably won't see this, obviously, but I trust a lot of people that are in your hemisphere. But one person that I most certainly don't trust, and I can't think of what her name is your faith advisor. She's a fraud. I mean, 100% a fraud. People that speak in tongues, and this is somebody that grew up in the church, grew up as a Christian. I was raised Mennonite. That's like 2 tiers above Amish. Okay? Tongues is not normally a very good thing. People really use that. And when people talk about how much Jesus, how can I say this? How much Jesus guides them, but when they talk about how much Jesus guides them, it's always about them. I'm a Christian. God guides my feet every single day. Am I perfect? Not even close. Do I try? Absolutely. Do I fail? Absolutely. I love our country. Our country is fantastic. But there's way too much issues going on in our country that need to be handled, because as of right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a one-tier justice system. If you don't know what I mean, please, for the love of God, look it up. It's really a sad state of affairs when we have so much fraud going on that's being exposed by all kinds of people. So, social media journalists seem to do better jobs than what your mainstream media does. And that's a doggone shame, because mainstream media has hundreds, if not billions, of dollars worth of income, and they do nothing but lie, including Fox News. For a long time, there's been ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, and all these local news stations that do news stories, and then you put all these news stories together and they're all saying the same thing. And now recently, in the last 2-3 months, Fox News, you can literally go through day to day to day to day, every single day, and almost every single newscaster on said news channels are all saying the same thing. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's television. It is what they want you to believe. Do I support Israel? Yes. Do I believe that the Jewish people are, God's chosen people? Yes. But God says, Jesus said, believe in me, believe in me. We're the temple, right? That's really what it says in the Bible. But then again, you also have to look at the fact that maybe not all the books of the Bible are actually in the Bible. It's like you gotta look and figure out what's real and what's not. Back to Israel real quick. I support the Israeli people. I do not support the killing of innocent people at all by any stretch of the imagination. But I most certainly do not support corrupt governments. And there are corrupt governments all over the world. Even our government here in the United States, there's documentations and facts all over the place about how corrupt our own government is, was, were, can be, whatever. But ladies and gentlemen, it's really sad that it's in this hemisphere of just completely upside down. When they try to tell a vision, but yet it's always behind closed doors, closed settings, all this crap. Well, maybe what's being said in public isn't necessarily what's being said behind closed doors. And like I said in the earlier part of this video, you can look and see how many things have been literally lied to. It's always a little bit of information, that a way they can tell a vision of what the story might or could or should or maybe be. But really the people that call BS on things, people on both sides, left or right, go after those people. And it has to do with if people are talking about certain situations and those certain situations don't align with other people's, direction or vision that they want to see things, like Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz. I used to like Ted Cruz, man, but the fact is if you can't say Christ is king and know that that's true, then that's a really bad situation, because then they become false prophets. False prophets that try to get our young men and women into battles to fight their battles. Why don't they go over and do what they want our military to do? Is Iran bad? The government? Sure. Iranian people? More than likely not. I mean, you can go back in history and Google what Iran looked like in the 70s. And then along comes the Ayatollah and whatnot. And it just becomes a shit show. And then it's, kill the Jews, bomb Israel, hate America, blah, 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 blah. It's all those things. I don't want to be a sucker. And suckers are people that don't have conversations. Suckers are people that believe only one thing. And like I said in the beginning of this, when people start speaking differently than what other people are, and it doesn't align with their narrative, then those people that are speaking against that narrative become targets, like Joe Kent, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens. Candace Owens mainly has been focusing on, the Charlie Kirk aspect of things. I personally have never met Charlie Kirk at all, ever, obviously. But still, nonetheless, it's a very sad situation. But there's way more questions than there are answers. And when there's more questions than there are answers, then that more than likely means that you're being told a vision. That a way they can tell a vision. It's really, really sad. There's so many unanswered questions of all kinds of different aspects of things. I've seen all kinds of stuff all the way down to the fact that, 9/11 in Israel. Do I know that to be true? No, but I can most certainly tell you that there is major documentation that has put videos together of stuff that happened directly in that time. And right after 9/11, where were we? Iraq. We've been over in the Middle East more than we've concentrated on our own country. And maybe the only reason that we haven't concentrated on our own country is because everybody knows everybody, and most of them are all involved. There are a few good people in Washington. Nancy Mace is one of them. Tim Burchett. Josh Hawley, he's pretty decent. And I'm saying this because the people that call balls and strikes. You know, the worst thing about it is being lied to straight to your face. And them thinking that you're too dumb or too stupid to actually understand that what they are telling you doesn't add up. I would love to be able to have our country concentrate on our country. Because one, we're multi-trillion dollars in debt. 34, 6, whatever it is, whatever it's up to. That's us. But a lot of that debt has to do with our money being spent on things that we don't believe in. Like all these wars. We funded all these wars. We give our money, the politicians give away our money. And then politicians also give money here in the States that wind up going missing. Billions upon billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. And I bet you if you went through every single state, by the end of it, you would probably wind up with multi-trillion dollars worth of fraud that all of a sudden, poof, have become missing. If that would happen to you or happen to me, we'd be underneath the jail. I am just an American speaking on a platform that was gifted to me after my father passed away, and it was literally almost taken away from me because of the things that I spoke about. You couldn't talk about COVID, you couldn't talk about Hunter Biden, you couldn't talk about Biden, you couldn't talk about this, you couldn't talk about that. The first thing that they did was attempt to take away my money. And then they realized that I had sponsors, which still enabled me to do what I was doing. And then they limited the distribution. Will this video see many views? Probably not, because I believe that still is happening now. With your guys' help of liking, commenting, and sharing, maybe the algorithm will pick it up. But I have 156,000 views, 156,000 subscribers, and my videos can't get above 300. Weird. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just facts. And the more you know, and the more you read, and the more you become knowledgeable on, the more and more you kind of just be able to sit back and was like, this does not make a lick of sense. I personally don't have anything in this fight, but I have family members that do. I have an uncle that has a grandson, that has a daughter, which is her son, somewhere over in the Middle East. Can you imagine what it would be like to have people fighting a war and not being able to communicate, or extremely limited communication? It's not very cool. I get it, but it's not cool. We should be concentrating on our own country, because our own country is so upside down. And we're coming up on our 250th anniversary of being a country, and man, it'd be nice to see everything get fixed and rectified within our own country. But hey, the only way to do that is for corrupt politicians to stop being corrupt. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. I don't really know what else to say. I just wanted to come on here because all I've heard was all these people yapping and bitching and calling people traitors and this and that and so forth and so on. What a shit show. The people that are telling people not to trust these people, that they're, this, that, and this, all this stuff, it makes me want to trust them more, because it's all about a vision. And when people tell the truth, that vision gets distorted, and then it's just tell a narrative. God bless each and every one of you. I hope you subscribe, like, share, comment, all this. And I hope to goodness that this video even gets seen. God bless each and every one of you. Please check out my sponsors. It helps drastically. My Patriot Supply, My Pillow, Boomer Products if you want some good energy. You know, all the links are in the description of this here video. But ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to come on here and shoot the shit with you guys and kind of just voice my opinion. But remember, it's always about television. God bless all of you.